Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode on the road to 2000. Today I have another interesting game. So, without wasting any time, let's get into the game. On this game, I was playing as white, so I started with the king's pawn opening, pawn to e4. My opponent also responded with the king's pawn opening with pawn to e5. Then I played knight to f3. My opponent then played knight to c6. Then I played the Ponziani opening with pawn to c3. My opponent then played pawn to d6. Then I played pawn to d4, continuing with the opening. Then my opponent went for the pawn exchange. Then I took back with the c3 pawn. My opponent then played bishop to g4, pinning my knight to the queen. Then I played pawn to d5. Then my opponent played knight to e5. Then I played bishop to e2. My opponent then played queen to f6. The reason this is a mistake is because I can just play knight to e5, capturing the knight. And if my opponent captures back, I can capture back the bishop. And if my opponent chooses to take with the pawn, which is the best move, but I really doubt my opponent will take with the pawn there. Maybe my opponent will have taken with the queen. I had this check, and then after this, you can just play. So that's why the computer liked it if I sacrificed my knight or went for that, went for that knight exchange after this queen to f6. But then I missed that. I played knight to d2. I didn't really miss it, I just ignored the move. Then my opponent captured my knight. Then I took back with my knight, which is the best move. And my opponent took back with the knight. Then I took back with the bishop. Then my opponent played knight to e7. Now I had a huge advantage because my side is open up, especially the queen side, and my opponent's pieces are still closed in, and the pawns haven't really moved that much, and I have two advanced pawns. So I castled the king side, and then my opponent played knight to g6. Then I played queen to b3, which is not a bad move, but I missed queen to a4 with a check. And of course the king had to move or sacrifice this, which is a very big mistake. So you see that sequence, that's why moving in that position was the best move. So after I played queen to b3, my opponent then castled the queen side. Then I played bishop to e3. I saw that my opponent castled the queen side, and I thought maybe I should bring all my pieces to the queen side and attack the king, because my opponent's pieces are not threatening anything on my side. I should just take all my pieces and attack the king. So after that, my opponent played pawn to a6. Then I played rook to the a rook to c1, which is an inaccurate. The computer like it if I played check, but I just didn't really like the move. I like the move rook to c1. It's not really a bad move. Then after my opponent played knight to e5, threatening my bishop. Then I played bishop to e2, which is the best move. Then my opponent played knight to d7, another good move. Then I played bishop to b6, which is a mistake because my opponent has this. My opponent is attacking the queen and also attacking the bishop with the pawn, but I also have this queen to h3 with a check, and the king. My opponent has to either block, which is a blunder, or move the king, which is the best move. And then after that, I will just move my bishop if I want to move my bishop, or capture the knight, which is another mistake. The best move in this position is to capture the pawn with a brilliant move, with a brilliant bishop move. And when the king captures back, I can then play queen to g3, which is one of the best moves. There's also this, but the computer doesn't really like it. But the best move in this position is playing queen to g3. And then after my opponent does this, I can play rook to c5 with a check. Then the king has to move, and then I can, of course the pawn cannot capture because the king is pinned, and I can move my bishop. So, but that didn't happen. My opponent didn't play that move. Instead took the bishop. And also in this position, if my opponent had played this move, there's also this capture. So yeah, my opponent captured the bishop in this position, which is also a mistake. And then I captured back with the queen. Of course, my opponent cannot capture with the pawn because the pawn is pinned to the king. So after that, my opponent played queen to e7, trying to cover the checkmate. Then I played the brilliant move. I played the brilliant move, bishop to a6. I saw this from a long way before when I put my bishop in this position. I saw that I could capture that pawn there and open up that position, and my opponent could attack the king. So I just saw this opportunity came at the right moment, and then I captured the pawn with the brilliant move. At this state, the brilliant move are just a norm to me. So after I capture with this brilliant move, my opponent captures back with the pawn, which is the best move, and then I capture back with the queen with the check. Then my opponent played king to e8, which is a mistake. The only move here, there are only two moves that my opponent can make, of course. Playing king to d7, then I could play queen to c6, stopping the king from escaping. Now the king had to go back to the previous position. Then I'll just play knight to, so I will play rook to c3. Now it's mate into, there's no way to block this mate. The best move is to move the rook to e8, but that doesn't really matter. I can just play my rook to a3 and then it's mate in. So after that bishop move, there was nothing my opponent could really do. After I eliminated those 2 pawns protecting the king, the game was just over. So that's how the game played out. With that brilliant bishop move, that ended the game. I think that's it from the game. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, like, comment, and until we see each other in the next video. And please subscribe.